Travel with Eva here, and we're back. As you know, we had some technical difficulties, but we prayed and we're here. So thanks for joining us. Today we are going to be sharing some expert travel tips, questions, or some of the burning questions you might have. Put them in the comments, and we are going to get started. So welcome to Travel Tuesday with Eva and with Jordan Travel Enterprise. Today I have a special guest. We are going to be answering some of your questions, and let me share some of the questions so you'll know what's up. We're gonna some of the questions that I'm going to be asking Jackie, and then I'll also be answering is, do you want to plan a vacation in 2020 or 2021? Is it too early? When should you not consider a cruise? We're just going to be answering a bunch of questions, and also checking in with you. And today, my special guest is Miss Jackie Williams.
Hey.
Jack, let me tell you a little bit about her. Jackie Williams is the founder and lead designer of NuVibe Travel Experiences in Sandy Springs, Georgia. For the past 8 years, Jackie has created lasting bonds with her clients by creating memorable and personalized group experiences with a specialty in destination weddings and immersive itineraries. Fun fact, Jackie continues to get over her fear of the water by incorporating snorkeling and some group water activities during most Caribbean itineraries. She encourages her clients to live life passionately and try new things. So welcome, Jackie, to the broadcast.
Thank you, Eva. Finally, right?
Finally. We had some technical issues. We're like, we're just about to give up. But we prayed and we pressed through. And then sometimes in life, that's what you have to do.
That's exactly.
You can't give up. You come up against an obstacle. Don't let it stop you. Pray. Both of us, we believe in prayer, and press through, and God will see you through.
See us through it.
And welcome, Danita, to the broadcast. Thank you for joining. Welcome, Chelsea. And welcome to the replay viewers. If you are replay viewers, I want you to put replays rock in the comments, and if you have questions, put them there. We'll be checking back. So let's get started. And Jackie, let me share a little bit more about yourself. Give me a sentence or two so people kind of get to know you.
Well, as you see, I'm full of life. I'm actually an extrovert, but I have introverted ways. But I just love to have fun. And I totally believe that when people travel, it needs to be different than how they live everyday life. Like, what's the purpose of investing your discretionary funds if you're going to just do the same things that you do at home? So I'm a fun-loving person. I'm a dink. I have meaning dual income, no kids, proudly. And looking for a puppy if my husband ever agrees to
it. All right. So let's get started. And put your questions in the comments too, if you have something that you'd like to ask us. We're both travel experts, and we're here to help you. So my first question, Jackie, is the one that I started out with. Mm-hmm. Someone in the audience, or you're interested in planning a vacation.
Right.
You're not ready to do one right now. You want to do it in 2020 or 2021. Is it too early?
Great question, Eva. No, it is not too early. And it typically depends on the type of experience that you're planning. So for most cruise vacations, I think historically people have gotten so accustomed to looking for the last minute deals and waiting till the last minute. But with now, cruise ships are building more ships because they're selling out. So when you plan early, and the majority of cruise lines actually open up their itineraries up to two years, 24 months in advance. I was just listening to one of our travel partners today, Azamara Cruise Lines, which is a very premium luxury line. And they've already have itineraries out into mid-2022.
Wow.
Right? And I was like, that's pretty awesome.
So
And it's
that's
because
why we always say plan ahead. And I've
plan,
always
yeah.
tell my clients and on Travel Tuesday that planning is, and both of us specialize in groups.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jackie specializes in destination wedding. Planning a year out is not too soon.
No,
Don't want
not
to
at
wait
all.
for the last minute.
Never that. And just one little thing too, Eva, about the destination wedding part with that. You're talking about inviting guests who is spending money to go to a wedding, which is probably a little differently than you having an in-city wedding where they're just kind of showing up and eating your food for free, and other than just buying the occasional gift. So you definitely want to give your guests ample time to save and invest in your wedding, especially if you have very big visions for your day. So that's one of the biggest reasons.
So you answered one of the questions I was going to ask about waiting to the last minute.
Mhm.
A while ago, it was okay to plan at the last minute. Sometimes there would be some openings. What would you say about that for the person that says, "Well, I'm going to try to catch a last minute special"?
Well, it's so funny because I'm a last minute traveler myself. However, I'm a lot more flexible than most people. So unless you have a lot of flexibility in your schedule, and if you're not really in love with a particular destination, then planning at the last minute, looking for properties or cruise lines that may have some capacity open, then that may work in your favor. But most people, even as we know, are literally planning for family experiences, and they have a bucket list item most of the time.
Mhm.
And, for instance, Cuba can't go there on a cruise ship anymore. There are some land experiences that would allow you to get to Cuba. However, the availability in certain destinations are very limited, maybe due to their infrastructure, etc.
Mhm.
So those capacity, those accommodations will sell out. So you definitely want, to give yourself some ample time. Now, for instance, if you're just looking to go down to Hilton Head and looking for a hotel that has a room available just to get away, by all means, make your plans on Monday and and travel out on Friday. But if you're looking to spend a good little grip, and I say a grip is about 3,000 or more on an experience, or if you have in our situation specializing in groups, more than 4 or 5 people that you're planning for, definitely give yourself some time.
Okay, great. Now, what should you consider when planning? In and I'll answer the all-inclusive group vacation. But for you, as you specialize in destination weddings, what should you consider when you're planning the destination wedding?
Very interesting question. For one, I guess this is your day, the couple's day. So I would definitely say you will want to start with your vision and what you have in mind, and the experience and the just the ambiance that you want to bring for your memories. Because I'm gonna tell you this: when times get rough in marriage, you're gonna want to have a really great wedding day experience to remind you of why you're in it, right? So first of all is that, but then second, most of us want to share with family and friends. So while your vision is what it is, you definitely want to consider the budget of your guests. So if you know you're going to have a mixed group, maybe some not having the budget that your particular destination requires, that's another importance of giving enough leadway, because most final payments for that experience will be due at least 90, maybe sometimes 60 days prior to travel. So you definitely want to give your guests enough time. So technically, you want to consider your vision, and with that comes the destination, the resort, what offerings they have, even the cruise line. There are cruises on their weddings on ships, but then also the budget for your guests so that they can be happy and and have a good experience.
Well, we have someone who's asked how many people? And I'm assuming that's regarding a destination,
Destination
right?
wedding.
What
So
kind of
Chelsea,
number?
a destination wedding is you plus whoever else you want to invite. You have an elopement where you may just want to take a close couple of friends or family members who have you and your mate's best interest in heart, or 300 people. Again, the quantity of your invitee list is similar to being here domestically. How much can you afford? Now, there's some amenities and there's a lot of, I hate the word perks, but benefits to having a large guest list for yourself as maybe an engaged couple planning a destination wedding. But yeah, you can even just have a ceremony of just you and whoever you're in love with. So
Okay. Thanks for asking that question.
yeah, thank you. Great
And
question.
in terms of what you should consider when planning an all-inclusive group, it's something similar. Well, just by saying that it's a group, you're not talking about just two people.
Right.
And a lot of resorts have minimums, and oftentimes for a resort, it could be like usually it could be 20 rooms is considered a group, and but some resorts 10,
Right.
5 is considered a group, and with focus doing a group, there are group amenities and benefits that you can get. And oftentimes, like Jackie said, with the wedding, also with a group at an all inclusive, with the more that you have in terms of your numbers, the more perks and benefits that are offered. And but that is the case maybe with an all inclusive. But let's say you are interested in doing a villa, staying in a villa or something like that. Each selection has different perks, and that's why we both really encourage people to use a travel consultant, a travel expert, especially specializing in different areas. Like for me, I don't do destination weddings, but I would refer someone who's interested in doing a destination wedding to Jackie, because she specializes in that. She takes extra training and goes on familiarization trips and really knows that particular in area. And I specialize in groups and group travel events, and have training in something similar in that area. So you wanna strongly consider using an expert. It will save you time and money. So my next question to Jackie is, when you're looking at doing a vacation or putting together a group event, let's say it's a wedding anniversary or celebrating a milestone birthday, when you're doing that, should you book all the parts of your vacation at the same time?
Very good question. So that really depends on the timing. Most of the time, I if we're speaking about planning and pre-planning and actually giving yourself some space in that, the flights and the airfare will not be available at the time of booking. And a lot of people tend to wait because they want to know the entire package. They were like, well, I don't know what the air is going to be, so I'm not sure if I should start planning now. And then now the prices are more within maybe 10 to 6 to 10 months, you know, from the travel date itself. So I say the good part, similar to cruising, resorts and hotels open up inventory at least 2 years in advance. One of my favorite brands, which is Sandals Resorts, I'm looking at October of 2020, and they are one particular property I already have 5 category of rooms sold out. So you definitely want to start early. One of the things to kind of protect yourself is get travel insurance on your deposit portion.
Mm.
So you don't necessarily have to protect the entire cost of the trip if you haven't paid, the entire cost off. And maybe you want to this is my tip. Let's just say your deposit is $500, but your final payment is next July in 2020. But if you were to cancel or some things were to happen, there will be a cancellation fee of $150. So you will want to get travel protection on $650 for your vacation.
Okay.
And that way, if there's a covered reason for you to need to cancel your trip and that deposit is non-refundable, then you're covered. So you're not really losing anything. And one of the great things about the suppliers that we work with is that air can always be added on a package into your experience at that time. However, if you're an American Express card holder or Capital Venture card holder, and you are like me, who leverage credit for your rewards and Sky Miles, because I'm a Delta flyer, then you definitely can use your flight miles at the time of travel independent of your accommodation. So definitely it's never too early. Don't make any excuses, and you do not need to package it all and have it all perfect before you start making plans.
Okay, Jackie, we have a lot of questions, so start putting some of them up.
Okay.
Here, and welcome Aesha King to the our Travel Tuesday.
Hey,
So her
Aisha.
question is, what's your top resorts for destinations weddings so far?
Ooh, you put me on the spot, Aisha. Okay. So in the Caribbean, I love Sandals Resorts. Um, I love them because their experience to me is so inclusive, one of the most inclusive on the market, as well as the fact that, for one, they have, it's not a package deal. So you can personalize your wedding to your style. And all of your guests are included in that experience. And their meal charge per person for setup only is only $14. So if you ever done a domestic event of any sort and you were trying to get a plated meal with alcohol and everything, lobster, you're going to be paying more than $14 a head. So that's another reason why I love them. In Mexico, there's about three. I like Hard Rock and Palace Resorts brands because they offer amazing amenities for large groups. And it could ultimately, I hate to say the word free, but they could, the bride and groom or couple could potentially earn so many amenities that they're having kind of like a free wedding and honeymoon at one. And then the last one would be Hotel Ishkaret or the Ishkaret Parks. Incredible venue, especially if you're into Mayan culture, if you're into any type of culture at all. Exquisite and very, very different and unique caves. It's just, as you see, I'm speechless because I've seen it in action, and it's really wonderful. It's not an all inclusive experience at the park. So definitely, if you're wanting to not necessarily save money, but if you're looking to have an epic experience in a destination as you would have at home, then definitely in Mexico, Xcaret Parks will be one of them.
Okay, next question. Are destination weddings cheaper than US weddings?
It could be, Chelsea. It could be. Most of the time it is. It really depends on you because it depends on your budget and on your vision. One of the great things to know, especially for an island all inclusive wedding, is that most of the real quality brands offer a free wedding package or option, and you just build on top of that. So if you're simple like me, oh plain Jane, and you just want to indulge in the atmosphere and use the ambiance of the environment that you're in with a little embellishments, absolutely hands down cheaper than a domestic ceremony.
Okay, the next question. let me put it up there, is from Jada. Welcome.
Hey, Jada.
Jada asks, although you were going to someone's wedding, how can the guests enjoy the destination without the wedding party?
Oh, great question. Well, extend your experience. So let's just say you're going to a destination wedding and the couple has planned 3 days of events. The welcome party, say it's day one. The next day happens to be the ceremony and the reception itself. And then the third day is the brunch, or they want to do a catamaran. However, I definitely encourage, at least, especially when I go to conferences, it's similar to kind of going to a destination wedding when I travel. Get there early, get there 2 or 3 days prior, or even consider staying 2 or 3 days later and just unwind. Probably want to extend it on the back end because after all of the partying, you don't want to go home tired. I'm sure many of us have taken a vacation and need to come home and take another vacation from the vacation. So I definitely say extend your stay about 2 or 3 nights. That way, the couple is start their honeymoon. They don't want to see you, and you don't want to see them. And most of the guests only stay a average of 3 to 4 nights anyway. And then on one of the resorts that I would plan, definitely you're going to have some nooks and crannies to get away from everybody and have that romantic experience that you want to have. Or just if you're not with a couple, with your mate or whatever, you could just get away and just be comfortable.
Okay, the next question, and I'm not sure if I asked this one already, but it says, how far in advance should you plan a destination wedding?
Chelsea, it depends on several things, your budget and your guest budget. And the reason why I say that is most of us want our friends and family to be there. However, if you're thinking of a property, and if I was to come to you and say, well, for 3 nights, which is the minimum stay at all inclusive, your guests will need to spend $2,500 per person. And if you're not comfortable asking them to spend that amount, or you want them to spend that amount because you really want to have your wedding at that particular destination, give them time. So a lot of that is based on the budget of your guests and how important that is for people to be there. Personally, everyone isn't going to show up. And I'm okay with that. But will you be okay with that? And so we will work together to come up with a strategy that works for everyone, hopefully. And then the other part is the actual wedding costs. And again, that's all budget based. And why I say that is a lot of these resorts, if they have the availability, and what's today? Tuesday? And we want to get married in the next 3 weeks, and they have the time open and they have the rooms available, we can plan it in 3 weeks. So a lot of it does just depend on how much time you want to give your guests and as well as yourselves to prepare.
Okay, we have another question.
Great.
Aesha says, it sounds great. I've never worked with a travel agent. Do you work with the client from planning through post-travel? And I'll answer that.
Okay.
We, like I said, we encourage you to work with a travel agent. And we do work with the client through the planning and post-travel. One of the things that I know that I do, and Jackie probably does as well, is that we will follow up after the trip to find out, okay, what was it that you enjoyed? What could have been done differently? Was there some issues? And one of the things that is also a great benefit to using a travel consultant is if you have an issue and you're on a trip, that's when you need to contact us. And oftentimes we have people who are on the ground at the location that you're at, where you don't have to feel like, oh, I've got to call all the way back to the US to talk to my travel agent. We have connections so that we connect you with someone who's on the ground. So if you have a problem, you have someone to call and they're there and they're ready to help you. Whereas if you just did it on your own, you have to call the 800 number for the vendor that you use online. You have to stay on hold for however you're in another country. So that's one of the that's one of the things I would say in terms of using a travel consultant and our follow up and follow through.
Yeah, can I add one thing to
Yes,
that?
you can, and then I'll check to see if there's any more questions.
Okay. Well, as Eva said, for instance, why would you want to work with a travel professional? Um, I'll tell you about a current group really quickly. It's a group cruise that was going to Cuba. It was some repeat clients, and they're they like to have very interesting experiences. So what I did, I worked with the group leader and qualified her. You know, because most of the time, if you're the group leader, and what group leader means is that you're the person influencing and you're bringing the business. Technically, this is your group. It's like your birthday party, and you're inviting all of your guests to it. So you're the leader in this experience. So we work together to make sure that the trip is to your satisfaction and to your guest experience. But they were going to Cuba in October of 2020. And lo and behold, no more cruises to Cuba all of a sudden. And when I say all of a sudden, boop, everybody woke up. What? We can't go to Cuba anymore? Nope. So what we're going to do? So just imagine with 38 guests, you were the group leader and everyone's calling you and Aisha, what are we going to do and where are we going to go and how much it's going to cost and all of this stuff. And then you have a job and you have family and friends. And so we're your advocate. And so Eva and I, in these situations, we're the ones on the phone while you're working and taking care of your family, and we're up making sure the pricing can work or whatever the priority is for your particular group. That's what we're doing so that you can actually live your life. And you may say, well, why would we want to do that? Well, we're gifted. We just have special gifts that makes our hearts big enough to love other people enough to care for them in that way. But that's just one of the things, just kind of, I wanted to give a practical example of
Right.
just considering 38 different people. Some of them are married, some of them not, that you would have had to manage on your own. And as Eva said, we will make sure that it's rebooked, planned, and when you come back, how did you like it and where do you want to go next?
All right. Now we have another question from Marlon. Welcome, Marlon. Do you recommend staying at an all-inclusive resort versus a regular hotel that is, we don't like the word cheaper,
I
that is
know.
less expensive?
Yes, less expensive, cheaper. Wow. It depends on the destination. Real life story just happened this weekend. Wasn't looking for myself to invest any more than $500 on a little 2 night getaway. Flew out with my husband over to the Bahamas and came back home with an $800
Woo!
$800 expense from that experience. And we literally, and just to be honest, it wasn't about being flashy. I'm a Marriott rewards card holder. We stayed at the Courtyard Marriott, and that was 450 for 2 nights, and then everything else was meals, and that was about 2 meals plus transfers. So that wasn't a quote unquote cheap experience. So certain destinations, depending on what value you're looking for, it's definitely worth having an all-inclusive experience, because I can tell you, if we were at an all-inclusive resort, we probably would have spent a little less than that, um, based on some of the benefits that I'm able to get, just to be transparent there. And we would have had all kind of gourmet dining. We probably went snorkeling, which I didn't get to do. And we would have had a nightclub to go to. So we would have had a lot more experiences on that type of stay. Some destinations, just to give you an idea of where I would not necessarily all the time recommend an all inclusive. Um, some experiences in Jamaica, believe it or not. If we're going off the beaten path, definitely in Kingston, staying up in the mountains there near Blue Mountain. Barbados, the food is amazing on the island. So you definitely want to get out and experience the island of Barbados. And Aruba is very similar to that. And of course, in Europe, there aren't many, if at all inclusive properties in Europe. So you definitely want to be at what they call an EP, European plan, which means they typically will provide breakfast for you, hotel versus an all inclusive.
And one of the things I would say is when you're looking at all inclusive versus staying in a hotel, it depends on what you want to do, what you value, and also like there are certain islands that like Jamaica does have um, more all inclusive than maybe other islands. But if you, I had experience with a client, and she said, "I want an all inclusive," and wasn't she was very focused on all inclusive. But it was an island that didn't have a lot of all. It had very few, and that's the client. That's what she really wanted, and I ended up giving her that. But it wasn't a good experience, and because it all inclusives aren't the same, and so there might be one all inclusive even that offers all these extra experiences and things like that, and another all inclusive that is basically just giving you a meal and a hotel room. So again, those are the reasons why we know as travel experts, we know the differences and can offer you an experience and lined up to what you want. Because what we do is we ask a lot of questions. We don't, you just say, "Oh, I want to do this." We're going to ask you a lot of questions. We're going to find out what you want, what your likes are, because everybody's not the same. What's wonderful for me might not be wonderful for you. So just to let you know that. And let me check and see if there's some other questions that someone's asked. And I don't see any more questions. If you do, make sure to put them in the comments. Okay. And our time is kind of getting away from us. So let me see. Oh, okay. This is a good question. Mm-hmm. Would you plan a bucket list location on a cruise?
Ooh. No. I was trying to think of an easy way to say no. I would not. But that's a hard thing for me to say too. But let me qualify that a little bit. There are certain destinations that, well, first of all, hurricanes. Let's just be real. In the Caribbean. I'll start in the Caribbean first. I had clients who really wanted to go to St. Martin after Irma. Damages happened. The cruise ships had to divert the itineraries, and they were devastated. And that really was one of their biggest protocols that they wanted to experience because of natural disasters. But even so, medical emergencies. It took me 3 cruises to get to Ocho Rios, Jamaica. I had been to Jamaica before. My husband's Jamaican, so I had experience. I'd never been on a cruise, and I really wanted to do that. And it took 3 cruises. Why? Because 2 of those cruises had air evacuations that, due to the timing of those, tragedies for the guests, we had to divert our itinerary. We had to divert our itinerary. The other thing goes to like on a river cruise. If the river is too low or too high, then the cruise lines aren't able to sail down that particular river for those itineraries, and they actually cancel the entire voyage for those. Wow. Because the river is it's usually on a path, so it's not too many options of diversion there, so you may not even get to experience anything at all. So although I definitely do recommend destinations such as Greece, for cruises, and some parts of East Asia, as well as Africa. Ooh, especially Africa, because you get to see the animals from the water. Ooh, I love it.
Getting excited just talking about it.
Then you definitely, but just know that. But as Eva said, and as we both keep saying, working with us, we tend to have trends. We can't guarantee anything, reason for travel protection. But we do know the trends of the weather and different other patterns that we're hopefully planning in a good enough time where we're going to divert and mitigate some of those challenges. But no, ultimately, if it's somewhere that you really, 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 really want to go, it just needs to be all sunny and cranberries, and we make sure that it works out. But there are a few destinations like Tahiti that there really isn't a bad time to travel there. So in that case, cruise whenever you want to there.
And my last question is why do you need to be flexible? It's kind of a piggybacking on the last question.
Right.
Why do you need to be flexible regarding the cruise destination on a cruise? And I'll answer that.
Okay.
Because you need you have we give you you'll look at destinations that are on the cruise, and sometimes, like she mentioned, it could be a hurricane or weather issues or something's going on in the world. The cruise may divert and go to another location, or in the case of weather, instead of going to Mexico, they may divert and go to a different island. So you have that itinerary, you have the places that you know that are scheduled to go to, but you need to be flexible because things change, and the good thing about a cruise is when things change, they're able to make those changes. So,
yeah.
Add anything to that, Jackie?
Yeah, that's actually one of the best reasons to cruise, is because unlike a destination where you're flying in through air and staying at one property, you know, if something was to happen in the case of hurricanes, you know, you're in Orlando and I'm from Florida. You know, I've had this plenty of times where I've traveled during hurricane season. For instance, we were caught, Waquan, I can't remember the name of the hurricane, but we were literally in the Atlantic. And when it was just about to hit the Bahamas, so we had to divert our itinerary from Nassau, and we did an extended stay in Tortola, which was great for me because I have a college. My roommate lives in Tortola, so my whole family got a really private tour there. But in those situations, we didn't miss out, is what I wanted to say. And a lot of times it's kind of a double benefit on cruises because the ship is also a part of your destination experience.
Right.
You know, so pairing with the right cruise line too is a good one.
Okay. I want to take a moment to thank some of the viewers. Rose, thanks for joining. Aisha, thanks for asking questions. Carrie, Stephanie, and Chelsea, thanks so much for joining in. As always, if you have questions even after the show, put them in the comments and we'll get back to you. So I want to thank Jackie for taking this time and even when we're having technical issues because we were supposed to start at 8 and we started much later. I wanted to thank you. And Jackie, how can people get in touch with you? If they're thinking about a destination wedding and they want to contact you, how can they do that?
Thank you. Yes. So my handle is at NuVibe Travel. So that's NU Vibe, VIBE Travel. So you can find me on all social media channels through at NuVibe Travel. My website is NuVibe Lux Travel, Lux with an E. And really, when you contact me, the process would be scheduling a consultation. 30 minutes to an hour consultation where we go through a deep dive. When you actually go to my website, NuVibeTravel.com, there will be a scheduled consultation link. You'll be presented with a questionnaire as well, more of your travel inquiry form, and then we'll just schedule the call from there. So definitely, I look forward to continuing to collaborate with any questions that come aboard. And if you're interested in a destination wedding or a honeymoon experience, please give me a call or go to my website and schedule a consultation.
And if you could put your, I know Danita's putting some things in, but if you would put your contact information in the comments.
Okay.
So and for those of you who don't know, I'm a group travel event specialist. I help you have worry-free group vacations and conferences. We transform your ordinary vacations and conferences into amazing group adventures. And so if you're interested in, and you have ideas for a group event, you can go to group.travelwitheva.com and complete the questionnaire. I have a questionnaire also. And then go to schedule.travelwitheva.com to schedule your complimentary consultation. And if you know someone who is maybe thinking about planning a destination wedding or group travel event, group conference, share the broadcast out and share the information. And lastly, on TravelwithEva.com, as you can see, TravelwithEva.com, I'm the author of Hosting Group Events in Paradise, the ultimate guide for trainers, coaches, and business leaders. You probably can't see that. But if you go to TravelwithEva.com, I'm offering you 2 free chapters of the book.
Wow.
So,
great.
So again, thank you, Jackie, for being here, hanging in there with me. And I'm gonna say bye for now. Oh, coming up in a couple of next month, I'm gonna have another special guest for you. She is a representative from Sandals Resorts, and we are going to be talking about girlfriend trips. So you might want to check back for that. And also coming soon is South Africa adventure that I want to invite you to. So and if you're interested in either one of those, can put it in the comments and we'll get back to you. And I always like to end my broadcast by saying, have a blessed day, evening, wherever in the world you are, and take time to be a blessing to someone else. Bye for now.
Bye.